going. All right. So welcome everybody. Um, Felt like it was a good time to have a meeting to go over the high school teams and the club. Actually, it was quite a good process for me to go through to kind of figure out as well what we're going on with the club and just kind of put it all in line again, as we haven't done it for a couple of years. So moving quickly on. Um, Mission statement again. I'll allow you to read that. But the main thing is we're a club that will look to develop players and develop teams, and we'll be looking to get people to their greatest potential. Again, I'll leave you to read that as we go. One of the points to make with this is game time, and it's not an equal game time club, um, but every coach that coaches for us is told that during tryouts, if you're going to take a player, they're expected to be able to play 50% of the game. So during these times, if you're not getting 50% of the game or 50% of the season, then you should definitely be having a conversation with your coach. Any players that we take that aren't at that level, there should have been a conversation beforehand, and normally we've asked those players if they feel like being or want to be practice players. So levels of the club, for the high school girls, there's two levels. We have the regional teams, which are strong players, fully committed to soccer, looking to improve and potentially play at the next level, which for most of the girls would be high school and college. So there are some that would want to play pro as well. And it's great that the landscape of soccer's changed enough that's a reality. And then the state teams, which are strong players to developing players. So it's an area where you can grow a little bit more. Where we're a little bit easier with the game time. Multi-sport athletes, which is a big part for around here. And again, same thing. Are looking to improve. Doesn't mean that state players aren't looking to be strong players on their high school teams or to play at college potentially. It might mean that they just need a little bit more development. So as we go through here, then the leagues that the regional teams play in. Right now, we're in the National Academy League, the NAL, which is the second tier for the girls' academy. So it's basically tier two. If you know about the leagues, or if you don't know about the leagues, but basically we have the top two leagues for girls are the Girls Academy, the GA, and then the ECNL. So we're in the second tier for that. As a club, if we do really, really well, we get an option to go into the GA. But right now, the NAL seems to be a really good spot for us and the place we need to be for our regional teams. And then for our state teams, we enter the EDP championship for most of them. And there were a few opportunities to also play in the North Atlantic National League, which 2008 Anderlecht team is going to do this year. So that's another route that we can go from there. All right, what do we expect from our players? Hopefully, I've got plenty of players on here, but 100% effort at every practice and every game. I always tell the kids I don't coach effort. I expect it. It should be what you turn up expecting to do. Be the best teammate you can possibly be. I'm a big timekeeper guy. Obviously, sometimes I'm late, but arrive at games and practices on time and ready to start. The area of the country we live in, the traffic is horrendous. So sometimes you get stuck in traffic, you get late. The big thing is if you are late, you get there ready to go, and don't start messing around and needing to go to the bathroom and stuff like that. So very important with that. Ready to start for me means in the correct uniform. So for practices, it's a red shirt, blue shorts, blue socks, and a pinny, which is a big thing. If you haven't got a pinny, if you didn't order one, you can actually get them on Amazon for like $10. So I make sure the kids will use the pennies during training because it just makes my life easier and means they don't have to wear stinky pennies. Jewelry needs to be off. Again, stud earrings, smaller earrings, I'm not too bothered about. If I can't see a necklace, I'm not too worried about it. But the big giant hoop earrings need to come off. Shin guards need to be in. It's a safety issue. Honestly, when I was a player, if somebody wasn't wearing shin guards and they were competing for a spot with me, I'd probably see that as an opportunity to make sure I got my spot more than them. So make sure you put them in. Big thing here, a fully inflated size 5 ball. It should be a decent quality. You don't have to spend a lot of money on a ball, $20-$30 for a ball, but you need to bring it. And the big thing is it needs to be pumped up. I have 2 pumps in my bag. So if it's not pumped up, you can ask me. And I think the other coaches probably do it. We also have a pump on the wall at Chelsea Piers. and pumps in the office. So there should be no reason why our balls aren't pumped up. I know some people like to keep them flat because they feel like they're I don't know, the touch is better with them or whatever, but that's not the way that you play with them in the game. And then finally, is for the correct uniform, I highly recommend turf shoes over cleats or boots on the turf. Especially in Chelsea Piers, the turf has been replaced. It's quite thick, and we've had a few kids that have kind of the wearing cleats. It does stick, and you have to remember that we're indoors at Chelsea Piers, so it never gets wet. So there's no slipping and sliding. So really, turf shoes are ideal for that. Especially for training. I understand, again, same when I was playing, I used to like to wear boots no matter what the surface was for games because you could strike a ball a little bit better with them. So games is a little bit of a different matter, but for training, I think we could definitely save some injuries, some rolled ankles if you're wearing turf and the right footwear. And then the final thing is growth mindset. Be ready to learn, be ready to improve, because again, that's really what we're looking to do as a club. All right, the question for most people is, why do you play soccer? We're going to move on to this. We're going to be interactive in a minute, so you're going to need to help me out a little bit. But the big reason, no matter what your reason for playing soccer, and I realize that everybody, or a lot of people have different reasons for playing soccer, is it has to be fun. So if it's not fun, then we need to think about whether you should continue to be playing in high school. And again, we don't want people to stop playing. We want to make it so that you have fun and you want to carry on playing. But it does need to be fun. So having said that, in the chat, I've posted now a link to a Google form. Let's see if this is going to work. If you could go in there and just fill in that questionnaire, why you play soccer, or why you think your child plays soccer, and then we can have a look at the results as we go through here. So right now there's no responses, so nobody's done it. So again, click on that link in the chat that should have come up. Oh, here we go. So right so far, nobody's playing at college. Play at high school, play with friends, exercise, improve, activity. Keep going. I haven't had any others yet either. I'm waiting for the one that says the other because my parents make me. Play at college. There we go. 1, 3 now. Play with friends. Keep going. Go for about another 30 seconds with this. This is actually great information for me because I like to see why people do this stuff. All right, you can carry on uploading it, but I'm gonna go back to the slides. Keep putting your answers in there because this is really good information. But as you can see from that, a decent percentage, 45%, have interest in playing at college. 72%, which again we know that, want to play at high school or do play at high school. And when you say play at high school, that means play, not sit on the bench. Friends is a huge part of it. It's a great social sport. Exercise, it's the best, second best sport for exercise for female athletes. So it's really good for that. Somebody there wants to become a pro, loves soccer, missed it so much. All right. So great answers. I've got those now. It's 44 responses. So that was really good. So thank you very much. So that's the reason that we feel that people play soccer and the girls play soccer. This is how we focus the club and where we're going. So we feel that I think it was 30% that want to play at college. That's where we need to aim our club, and that's where we need to aim our regional teams and aim our practices. So we're always looking to help those players improve and help them get where they want to get. To play at high school, then if we're aiming for those kids to get there, and everybody else is getting the same training and getting pushed the same way, to play at high school should be a reality. And I've underlined play because sitting on the bench at high school isn't playing. Being on the high school being with your teammates, being with your friends, but that's not what we're aiming for. We're aiming for you to be a contributor on your high school team. To do that, improving and developing is a key, and that's really where we look to focus our training, where we look to focus our games, is to improve and develop. Now, to spend a second on the developing at all costs doesn't mean not winning. The focus should always be to win a game. it's a sport, it's a competitive sport. We always go out to win a game. My saying I like is we're going to develop at all costs rather than win at all costs. So we're not going to sacrifice a kid's development to win a game, but we're going to do everything we can to win the game. So I think people that say that, oh, it's, you know, we're developing the kids, it doesn't matter if we lose, it doesn't matter if we don't put a full effort in, you know, I think they're saying that because they don't want the competition. You know, I think it's very, very important that we teach the kids that winning is fun, is enjoyable, and again, it's a life lesson that, you know, if you try and win and you do win, it's very nice, very fun. So any coach that tells you that they're developmental only and they don't care about winning and losing, I don't think you're telling the truth. I like to win. If I don't win, I get upset. If I do win, I'm very happy. I can see the bigger picture, but the aim is always to win. That being said, I'm not going to sacrifice a kid's development over the opportunity to win. Then obviously we know that a lot of people are doing this because they like to exercise. Exercise is mentally very good for you. Obviously for mental health, it just releases those endorphins. It gets you going. You know, it's what we need. We need it every day. So the exercise is a great part of that. Play with friends and build a team. It's a point I'm going to come to later, but I do think that's a huge part. And it's something that we kind of have missed a spot on a few times with the club. I think the one thing that some people say activity, or I put that in there, I do feel that some people are doing this because it's one of their activities. So one of their activities is playing the piano. One of their activities is soccer. One of their activities is lacrosse. One of their activities is track in the spring. It's hard for us as coaches to relate to that because we love the sport so much. So just being an activity is kind of very low on our list of importance, if you like. Moving on. So how do we help achieve the goals? So the main thing, or one of the main things, sorry, is our facilities. One of our main factors of the club, we don't hide this, is we have wonderful facilities. You know, Chelsea Piers as a facility is one of the best ones in the Northeast, possibly America. So it's a great place for kids to be and kids to play. It's a safe place. GCDS obviously are beautiful fields that we get to use. Mata Salvatoris, we're very happy to have that now, which was kind of one of the missing pieces because now we can train up until 9 p.m. Under floodlights all through the year. And then we have Brunswick in the spring for Sunday games, which is a beautiful facility. It's always windy up there, but it is very, very nice. Our coaches, this has always been one of my biggest areas that I think we need to be focused on. So our coaches are really important. We have a fantastic group of coaches, but we also look to support them in licensing and education. Personally, Chelsea Piers has helped me through several badges recently. The last one I've just done was to become a US soccer grassroots licensing coach. So I can now put people through the courses. So there's a few of our coaches that are going to go through that haven't done it yet, but for bigger picture, some of the kids get to be in that as well. Consistent offerings. The beauty of Chelsea Piers is, you know, we don't get called off very often. This fall has been unbelievable because we haven't had rain for like 3 months, so we didn't get called off at all. A couple of years ago, we were getting called off more, and we do use outdoors more, but having all these turf facilities, we only get called off if it's dangerous rather than just wet. So consistent offerings as we go, and obviously having the winter season is huge for us, and at the biggest point where our teams develop. And then level appropriate competition is one of the things that I fully believe is really important to help people improve. It's more important to be more important on which team you're on is, are you on the right team and at the correct level? So you have to be at the right competitive level. If you're at too low a competitive level, you may win all the time, but you're not going to develop the same amount. If you're at a too high a level, same thing, you're not going to develop because you're going to be only defending the whole time. So it's really important that we get people in the right spots, which is why I feel our state teams are as important, possibly more than our regional teams, because that's where people get to grow and improve. And I've seen many a kid who wasn't particularly strong or good at 12 years old go on to play at college, go on to be the high school captains, go on to be the best players in the high school. So the developmental part of that is key, and the importance of our state teams is really important for me to highlight. All right, that's our team offerings or club offerings. That's available on the website. We're going to send all this stuff out afterwards, but basically it's two practices a week, winter and spring. We had the CP360 in the winter through the winter season. So that basically one of your practices will be 1 hour. We also have one winter tournament indoors. It says we have one spring tournament, but we actually have two. Or at least we're giving you two. So that's what we're going off this year. I may be wrong. I might get in trouble with our finance department. And then we have our winter league, which is through December through March, 12 games spread over that period of time, not on the holidays, at Chelsea Piers, 6v6 for these age groups. All right. Spoke about our coaches briefly. So I am the coach of the 2010 Milan girls and the 2009 Nice girls. Milan's my second year. Nice is my third year. Obviously, I have a lot of other roles as well within the club, and also being assistant coach at Fordham University, which is a role I took on to try and learn more about the college game and the college recruitment stuff for the good of the teams and the good of the kids in our club. Neil Phillips, who is the girls 2007-2006 Verona team, which he wants to change the name to Wrexham. 25 years plus coaching in Connecticut. He's currently the GCDS head coach. He was also the Joel Barlow coach for a long time up in Reading, and then he was the hand boys coach for a long time. Don't tell anybody, but he and I have been friends since we were about 16 back in the UK. So he's also one of the worst joke tellers in the world. Joey Lafferty, who's the 2009-10 Lille coach and 2008 Bruges coach, has been an assistant coach at Holy Child High School and King in the past. Right now he's focusing on a club, and he's a new dad, so he's really focusing on his baby. Ashley Kaufman, we'd like to welcome to the club. She's been a great addition already. You get better by the people you surround yourself with. So as a club, I feel like we're already improving from having Ashley with us. She's currently the Shelton High School girls coach and the University of New Haven assistant coach, also focusing on goalkeepers as I do with Fordham. And then she's going to coach the 2008 Anderlecht team, which she's brought some kids with her from a previous club for that, which we're very happy to welcome into the club as well. And then John Ruddock, who is our Chelsea Piers Leagues and Tournaments Director, also quarter of a century coaching experience. The most beloved coach, I think, in the club. He does the younger kids, so he basically knows every kid that's been in the club for a long time. And then any team I put him with improves, has a great experience, and just loves John to pieces. So he really is very, very special for us to have as a coach in our club. In there, the bios, I'm going to send this all out afterwards, or some information you can find on the coaches if you want to find out more about them. All right, so as a club, we don't make a huge deal about it, and we probably should, but we have a ton of kids that are just graduating or currently playing in college. I'm not going to name them all. Some of them played for us for a year. Some of them played from us from U9 through U18. So we have a ton of kids, but our track record of producing kids is phenomenal. We've done really well with that, and again, that's due to the coaches that we have, working with the kids from young ages all the way through. That's right away from kids playing in college D1, D2, D3. Also, we have a couple of kids playing on national teams. Sophia Romero is playing on the Uruguay national team, and Sophia Aitorta is on the US U17 national team, and also just committed to UCLA, or is going to UCLA next year. So again, some fairly notable ones, and some kids that have been with us for years that are really excelling and doing well in college, and some that are gonna flourish in the next year or two. Again, just a note of that, just so you can have a look at it. All right, so I'm keeping whizzing through, and I'm going to open this up for questions. But basically, areas that we can improve upon, and this is sent out. We sent out some surveys at the end of the spring season, and then obviously from talking to people, and also this first one is a little bit of my own opinion. But we need to form a bit more of a sense of team, a bit more of a sense of club. My son, who is 2012, so he'd be a U13 player now, did stop playing last spring. Obviously, it's still hurting me because I keep bringing it up. Stopped playing soccer to play baseball. He was better friends with the kids on the baseball team. It was more local. he kind of felt like a big deal on the baseball team, whereas on the soccer team, he was a goalkeeper who conceded goals all the time, felt that he wasn't very good. I think he was an excellent goalkeeper. I actually think he's probably better at soccer than he was that he looks to me like he's baseball, but I don't know. But I do think part of that was the fact that there wasn't a sense of team and a sense of club. It was basically him leaving his town to come to Chelsea Piers to train and then drive back. So it was basically a 3-hour process without a real sense of team. So long story short, we want to try and change that. So it starts with team managers. The managers are fantastic. They do a job that many people don't want to do, and honestly, our coaches aren't always the easiest people to work with and to get information from. So sometimes it's like pulling teeth. So we really appreciate everything that our managers do. We'd love to make this more of a committee, more of a board than just one manager on a team. For example, like one manager would handle the communication, making sure people know what uniform to wear, where to be, speaking with the coach, all that good stuff, all the fun stuff that nobody really wants to do. Another manager would then look at the team building events. When I say that, I mean tournament hotels, tournament dinners. Can we do extra stuff at Chelsea Piers? Can we do team building? Anything like that. And then we also need somebody per team who focuses on the social media. Now, the kids are all better at social media than most of the adults on this. We may have some experts at marketing people. So it may be that a parent says, I'll do it. And you hand it over to your player and they do it. And you just kind of look at it. However it is, we do need that kind of focus on social media. So the aim is always to kind of, can you promote your team? Can you make sure that everybody knows what's going on with your team and all the good stuff on social media? And can we keep it fun? Can we keep it interesting? Can we keep people wanting to be there, as well as keeping that communication clear? One of the big parts that I've started to realize is parent involvement's a good thing. We've always told parents not to coach. That continues. We don't want any direction to players during the game, but we do want your involvement in the club. We do want your involvement in major decisions we're making and input. So we want to open up those lines a little bit. I think we've always been to the point where we've been pretty clear about no coaching. I think people thinks that's mean we can't speak at all, but we should be open to that, and we really appreciate support. And with that, we need the ideas. So the next point that we found that we struggled on, and we struggled on, is player exposure. So the way we work on that, and this has kind of been my focus for a couple of years, along with getting floodlights for us to train. But the main areas are the competitive level of the teams and our leagues. Again, I feel right now that the NAL for the regional teams is a good place for us. And we're off to Florida in a couple of weeks. We'll see how many college coaches are there. But at the same time, it's getting us out there, and it's getting us in front of people, and it's getting us the experience and the exposure. So we feel like we're getting that. But on the other side of that, I did speak to 3 or 4 other clubs very similar to ours who have the same issue. And I felt that we need to start creating events rather than waiting for people to come to us, waiting for people to offer us spots in tournaments. I think we need to start doing that. So I'm working on creating an event for the summer, which we'll talk about a little bit more in a minute. Obviously, area to improve is communication. There must be open lines of communication. And just so you know, the protocols for communication is ideally at this age, player to coach. If that doesn't work, or the players don't feel satisfied with the responses, player and parent to coach. And then if that doesn't work, player and parent to coach with me there as well, so we can discuss it as a group. If you don't like what I say, then you can go above me after we've talked to the athletic director at Chelsea Piers. But we haven't got to that point yet, and I don't actually have to have many conversations when, in addition to the coaches speaking to player and parent. So I do think that's important. I really think it's important that the players speak up for themselves if they're comfortable. But also, I think it's sometimes good for the parents to be there with the player, just to either for moral support for the player, or for the parent to actually hear the player's point of view. It might be different to theirs. My teams, and I highly recommend this, and I'm going to say it in front of everybody so the coaches have a bit of pressure on them to do it. But I like to have individual player meetings at this point in their stage of development. So again, once we get going in the winter, we'll sit down and have a chat. This may be more for the players coming in. One, I've always got something I can tell the players that they can improve upon. But also it's going to be goal setting and where do you want to go as a player? How far do you see yourself going as a player? And how can I help you? That's going to be kind of how it is. But I do think there's time to be made for the players. It can be in person. We're at Chelsea Piers most of the winter, or again, it's easy enough to set up a Zoom these days. Now we have these wonderful technology things. All right, nearly done. Right, tournaments. So again, as far as I'm concerned, we do 2 travel tournaments per team per age group, and then we do 1 winter tournament. So for the regional teams, we're already going to the IMG Cup on December 13th and 15th. That's one of the tournaments. We then there's several options for Winter League tournaments, which John runs. The process for that for the Winter League is John really has to wait until a couple of other teams from outside of our club registers, and then he'll kind of let the managers know, right, we have competition for you. This is a tournament that you should be looking at doing. Unfortunately, it's not a great process, but it's the only process that we've managed to figure out how to make it work. So it can be a couple of days before the tournament that we tell people that, you know, we need a team. You don't have to do it if we haven't got people around. But that's kind of what the way we work. We've been looking for better ways to do it, but honestly, we just can't find it at the minute. So we'll carry on looking at that. The Jefferson Cup, which is March 21st, 23rd, teams are entered into that. The regional teams and the Anderlecht 08 team have been entered into it. We applied for it 2 years ago and didn't get in. So I'm skeptical whether we're going to get in. And I was really put off by the tournament by the fact that when we didn't get in, and we were kind of told that we would do beforehand, that I couldn't even get hold of anybody to tell me what we failed upon or why we couldn't do it. So and 2 of those teams that we were trying to put in were current state champions. So there wasn't really a reason for it. I think there's a bit more of an expanded tournament, so we should get in. And looking at the other teams that go, we absolutely should be able to get in, but we might not. So I don't want to promise that we're definitely going there. We've entered the tournaments. Still waiting to hear back from those. John and Joey, I believe, are going to do the City Showcase, which is on Easter weekend. Randall's Island. It's a good tournament. It's not that much of a showcase, but it is a good tournament to get the kids out playing. It's in Randall's Island, which is kind of fun. Unless you get accosted by somebody trying to beat your dog up, which I did last year. But it's a good place to go, and it's nice and close, so it's a drive there and back. PDA Memorial Weekend Tournament has now been opened up. It used to be an ECNL only event, but now it's opened up to more clubs. So that is the one that I've earmarked. If we don't get in the Jefferson Cup, we'd look to go there. We could also, if you want to do that, if we do get in the Jefferson Cup, we do go to IMG Cup, teams that are really wanting to showcase, we can also do that additionally. The registration fee would have to be covered. And if I'm not coaching, the coaching fee maybe have to be covered a little bit, but we'd be happy to I'd love to go and do it if my teams want to do it, and we need a third tournament. Just Chelsea Piers won't cover the cost because it's outside of what they do. The Massapequa Memorial Weekend Tournament was where we went last year with the younger teams. It was decent, okay. CFC Cup's an option. One thing to mark on your calendars in case, and again, this is for state players as well, because not all the regional players can go, but NEL playoffs, June 14th, 17th in New Jersey, down at Tuckahoe Farms. The top 2 teams from each division go. Like I said, last year we had the 2009 go, and a few Lille players came with us, and the 2006 team went as well. And again, we needed extra players there, so it's something to mark on your calendars. Boredom Invitational, that's what I was saying about earlier. That's something that I'm setting up. Additionally, for that, it will basically be a low fee per player. I'm going after 6 clubs, 3 age groups so 15, 16, 17s. For all 3 clubs, we're then going to have the coaches come to Fordham. There's 2 fields within 200 yards of each other, 2 brand new turf fields. So the games will be played on there over 2 days. And again, we're going after high academic, NESCAC, Ivy League, D3 schools, D2 schools, D1 schools. So I'm kind of thinking now that the approach needs to be, we need to bring the coaches to us and give them an opportunity to see our players, rather than trying, hoping that coaches are going to walk past our fields and have a look at our players. And then regionals, Neil loves the State Cup and regionals. So June 28th, 23rd to July 3rd, sorry. Regionals are a possibility if we do State Cup with our teams and if you win State Cup. There's actually a pretty good chance if you don't win and come second, that you could go as well to regionals, based on the fact that not everybody always wants to go to regionals. This year it's in Virginia rather than West Virginia, which is obviously a lot better. Last year I think it was a 9-hour drive to get there, so people didn't particularly want to go. All right, last slide. So additional stuff. College recruiting guidance. I'm here to help. Our coaches are also here to help. If you want to spend some time on that, email me separately. There's lots of different, you're probably getting loads of different emails right now from NCSA and some other companies. They're actually decent companies, but we should talk before you sign up and pay any money to do any of that kind of stuff, because they're not 100% necessary, but they do kind of organize it nicely. December the 5th, there's the Chelsea Piers HSS Athlete Seminar. I'm mentioning this because 2 reasons. One, it's at the same time as some of our teams practice, so we're gonna have to shuffle our practices a little bit later for some of the girls' teams, because I want them to be able to go and still be able to train. But there's a real important part of this, which is a mental health segment, and the physical health segment, which is both focused on female athletes, really. So mental health is really important at the moment to be focusing on, and is something that we again, coaches aren't necessarily greatly equipped with. So to be able to get some outside help and to be able to get some people, some experts in here to talk to the kids right as the season starts, we're really excited to be able to do that. So I'm going to send all this stuff out. That link also got sent out, so you can register for that if you'd like to go. But again, it's for the teams that are supposed to be training. It's kind of mandatory. All right. Next thing, summer select training. Again, this is all optional, additional stuff, but we do have those training offerings. We expanded it last year, had great success with it, had a ton of kids playing, and that's the younger ages. And then we do the high school training twice a week through June and July. Included with that is CP360, strength and conditioning stuff, but they basically do a lot of HIIT class, so it's fitness before, then they do some the training. Interested in that, that's on our website. I'll send the links. This year's European tour is to Italy. Again, I'm going to send you the links, but it does look like it's a very nice tour. The tours that have been really, really successful have been the ones to Italy. Obviously, the food's fantastic, the scenery's fantastic, and the places you get to go are just beautiful. So I've put that in there. The links are in there. That's open to boys and girls. Again, if you have any questions about that goes to Danny Simpson, and he'll be running those as well. Yesterday we had the college recruitment process meeting with Magnus Nilrud. Went really well. We had about 100 people there. So there's a video recording of that place there as well, so you can look at it. It is long. All right, it was an hour and 15 minutes, so it was quite a long meeting. So you might want to skim some bits and go for the bits you want. I can also send out the slides so you can look through them. But I can also, if you have questions, I can also fill you in on a lot of that stuff. Additionally available to people, last year we did a refereeing course. We had a refereeing course at Chelsea Piers, which a load of our kids signed up for. And then I'm looking at running some grassroots courses. We've done the coaching training for the last couple of years. Probably going to tailor it a little bit different, but I want to make sure that the kids that did it last year and anybody who's over 16 that wants to do that can get their grassroots licenses. The idea of that is when you go to college, if you've got a grassroots license, you're going to be able to go and find some coaching work wherever you are in the country. So, or if you don't go to college, there's always work that we're always looking for people. On the work side of that, we had people work in the summer with us with summer camps. We also, we need people for classes in the spring. It's a bit of a conflict with our training sessions sometimes, but we are looking for people for that. And there's also volunteering opportunities. All right, that's it. Take a breath. That was quite long. That's 35 minutes. I apologize for that. Questions. If you have a question, just unmute, and I'm happy to answer anything. Nobody's got a question. Anybody want to put a question in the chat? You can do that as well. Thanks for somebody putting college. All right. Well, if I've covered everything, which possibly I have, but I don't think I have, I'm going to stop recording and I'll share this. I also obviously am available for information for questions. Oh, somebody muted. Who's got a question? Nobody?
Hello, David. It's Shannon. I'll ask a question. When do you think we'll know about the tournaments? And you did cover this information really well. I actually